Welcome to Bids, Cues, and Interactions for Infants and Toddlers. Hi, this is Nicole McCaskill, Community Learning Coordinator for Equipped. Thank you for participating in the upcoming recorded content. At the end of the session, you will click a link to complete an evaluation. The evaluation allows you to receive a DCD-EE training certificate. You will be asked to agree to an online learning honor code during the evaluation process. The recorded webinar content and completion of the online evaluation will take about an hour and 15 minutes to complete. You will receive 1.25 hours of DCD-EE credit. This content was originally presented and recorded on October 21st, 2021 during a facilitated live webinar. Our presenters for today include Rodis Riggins Jr., who is Equip's Quality Enhancement Coordinator. Our other presenter is Tammy Holtzman, who is Equip's Administrative Assistant and Quality Enhancement Support. This information considers the quality indicators found in the Infant and Toddler Classroom Assessment Scoring System tools. For more information about these assessment tools, you can visit the website found at teachstone.com. Today's conversations will reflect on the importance of interactions and relationships, provide a general overview of the class tools, that is the Infant and Toddler class tools specifically. We'll discuss class observation formats and discover some class resources.
So why are relationships so important? This is a quote that's lifted from Urie Bronfenbrenner. Many of you are very familiar with Urie Bronfenbrenner and his ecological systems theory model, as well as being one of the co-founders of Head Start. So Bronfenbrenner reminds us that every child needs at least one adult who is irrationally, absolutely crazy about him or her. So we want you to invite you to think for a second. Who was this person in your life that was absolutely and irrationally crazy about you? If you will lift that person's names into the chat, we will much greatly appreciate it. Who was crazy about you? This one person in your life. And if my fellow Equipped colleagues can monitor the chat and lift the responses, that would be fabulous. Who was crazy about you? Who was that one person?
Rodis, there's a whole variety. My mom, my grandfather, grandmother, great aunt Lucy.
Yes.
Lots of moms, some grannies.
Anybody else?
Those are all the ones I see, Rodis.
Okay. So hold on to those individuals as we begin to take a look at why relationships matter, and more importantly, why teacher-child interactions matter. We're going to invite you to watch a brief video clip of a young infant named Lily. Lily is beginning to crawl. So as you watch this video clip, be thinking about, what do you see in this clip that indicates evidence of relationships, evidence of responsive caregiving as well, and just overall support for Miss Lily. So, in general, if you think about what do you see occurring in this video? Brooke, you're so fancy, you got it in bed, and I'm tempted to play from here, but I'm gonna do old school. I'm gonna do old school, Brookie Brooke. I'm gonna go to the main one. So as you watch this clip of Lily, make note of what is occurring.
Lily. She's going after the red ball. She's almost crawling.
She's almost there. She's just getting.
All right. Yay. Yay. Are you kicking the ball? Yay. Are you sitting like a big boy, CJ? CJ. CJ. Please my smile. Come on, Lily. Come on, Lily. Let's see a ball. Come see. Come and see. Is that my hand? Do you have my finger? Do you have my finger, Miriam? Are you saying hi? Hi, Lily. Hi, Lily. Hi. What's wrong, Zulika? Huh? Oh. Here, want to scoot back? We can scoot you back? Good.
I love that big heart. So what was happening in that video for Miss Lily? What was occurring? And feel free to use the chat. Feel free to unmute. What was happening with Miss Lily and her teachers and her peers?
It seemed like she was just exploring her environment, you know, just having free time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Miss Angela, she was.
She was enjoying herself.
And what was her teacher doing?
I mean, interacting with her.
Mm-hmm. And can you be a bit more specific, Miss Angela? How was she interacting with her?
She was describing what she was doing. She was using her name, making it personal. She was even talking to CJ, who was watching Lily, just very engaged.
Yes, Miss Angela, those are specifics, honey. And when we look at this through the class lens, you're actually using some of those behaviors that are in both the infant and the toddler class. When you said that she was labeling exactly what she was doing, so in the class lens, they call that the use of parallel talk. where the teacher is directly mapping out the children's actions, their behaviors, their experiences. Lots of parallel talk in the video with Miss Lily. The use of her name in the class tool that relates to evidence of a positive climate, referring to children by their names. What else was occurring in Miss
Rhoda,
Lily's video?
I was going to add in the chat that we have some conversation too. Misty shared that she's got freedom, but she was being cheered on. And Nicole used the word encouraged.
Encourage.
I'll let you do that beautiful class connection with that.
Oh my God, encourage, encourage. So we won't talk much about quality of feedback and facilitation of learning and development tonight, because that's mostly in the toddler class. But they'll hold on to those terms, because that's what's occurring. She's getting this, encourage her to be persistent in her efforts. That's known as quality of feedback in the class. And then you have this, her verbal encouragement, which is this whole facilitated learning experiences that we do so naturally with young children every single day, every single day. So you're beginning to see that these interactions have greater impact, Ms. Angela, particularly on Ms. Lily's overall development, as well as her sense of belonging and well-being in her classroom environment. Let's talk briefly about, why this, well, I'm not gonna put that up. So why do these relationships matter? Why do our relationships matter with young children? I got a slide, but I wanna hear what you say. Why do they matter?
No.
Well, that's how you build trust and you build relationships with your families and the children that are in your program. So relationships are very key. Building that rapport, knowing that they can trust you. That's very important.
Yes, Miss Angela, yes. Thank you, love. Anyone else? Why are these relationships that we strive to build with a variety of children and families and even our colleagues, why are they so important?
I think they're important for development.
Would you speak more about that, Mr. Valentine?
Well, I mean, she's at the stage now where she's learning, she's absorbing everything, and I think that's a great part of her, developing as into a toddler. I mean, just from the stage that she's at now to where she needs to be as when she become a toddler.
Yes.
Just growing up, basically just growing up.
She growing up, and that's exactly one of the central role of relationships, supporting this overall development. I see thank you, Mr. Valentine. I see Mr. Lawrence has lifted some responses in the chat. Mr. Lawrence talks about the importance of building trust and gaining independence. Yes, Ms. Carol.
Oh, I was just going to say that just something about the interaction between, say, the teachers and the children that encourages the children, and it makes them feel special. And it makes them feel like somebody is paying them some attention and is there to help them and to answer their questions and that kind of thing.
Beautiful, Ms. Carol. Beautiful. So these relationships enhance our children's sense of self, as well as overall well-being. And we saw Ms. Lily's confidence increasing as she continued to try to practice crawling. So relationships do that as well. And it actually supports young children's achievement in school and in life. So that's what that slide was supposed to say, but you all teased it out so well. And that's what class is all about. That's what the class tools are all about. The class tool really assess the quality of teacher-child interactions. Because Angela, when we're using these tools, yes, hand washing is even more important, even more critical in the midst of the Rona. and maintaining our overall health and well-being. But through the class lens, I'm not going to be assessing whether you are washing your hands or you are washing your hands correctly. Now, I'm going to look at your hand washing routine, because doing those hand washing routine, some beautiful behaviors and interactions are occurring that are captured on the class tool, such as support for independence. So what is class? What is class? So I said earlier that class stands for Classroom Assessment Scoring System. But what in the world is that? Well, let's take a deeper look at class. And I'll stop sniffling. So class does stand for this Classroom Assessment Scoring System. I know that may feel like a very academic language. And some of the language in the class tool is in essence very academic, but yet if you engage in this activity with us, we will make an effort to really break this language down and really explore what exactly is this, are these indicators asking of us. So the class simply focuses on the quality of teacher-child interactions. It focuses on what really matters in young children's development for where they are in terms of their developmental span now, as well as life goals. And the class tools are used in about 20 states, and they're part of the quality rating and improvement system. You know, in North Carolina, we use the environment rating scale as part of our quality rating and improvement systems. But we have great hopes that that shifts to allow some other tools to be used as well. Excuse me. And the class tool is noted as one of those closest predictors of child achievement rates later in life. We're going to look at some of the impact of the class tool and how they really do support some of those life outcomes and hopes and dreams that we have for our young children. So we have this tremendous body of research around the class tool, the class tools. The class tools have been studied repeatedly in over 200 research studies, and they have been proven to have these when we focus on interactions and relationships, using through the lens of the class tool, that we see these impacts in math and literacy. You see young children performing better in math areas. You get in literacy, you have this increased vocabulary, you have these soft skills that emerge, such as listening, and you have this enhanced comprehension that may also develop. You have these great social emotional gains and this reduction in challenging behaviors, problem behaviors. You have this decrease in conflicts with our teachers, and you have this great sense of inhibition that may occur in young children. So it helps improve this impulse control. Cognitively, they found that young children who are in classrooms with very high class scores have better memory, and this improved inhibition and control of impulsiveness again as well. In terms of what the class works, and there's also this increased engagement. So there's this level of enthusiasm for learning that has been found, and there's this overall just positive engagement and increased interactions with teachers, and this greater cooperations and attention as well as persistence. So the class works in a variety of settings, and we're grateful that we have individuals here tonight who actually represent a variety of settings. So Mr. Lors, the infant and the toddler class works in the family childcare setting just as well as it works in the classroom settings. And the class has been found to be effective across diverse settings as well. And this is the equity piece, that class works in settings where there are dual language learners. I do not like the use of the term low income, but it does work in settings where you may have children and family with lower socioeconomic levels or varying socioeconomic levels. I don't like the use of the term low income because when we apply an equity lens, we must ask ourselves, why are the children and families from low incomes? So that's going to require us to take a look at our systems, our policies, our practices, like what is maintaining and sustaining them to be categorized as low income. There are some systems and structural levels that we must look at when we use that term low income. But the class uses it, but I just wanted to apply an equity consideration to it. Why are children and families in low income settings? And then the class tool is a great professional development tool when it's paired with coach that it really can support and enhance teachers' overall effectiveness in a variety of different settings. Any questions or comments about the benefits of the class tool? I know I sort of went through that very rapidly. Try to breathe. As questions arise, feel free to use the chat feature. So let's take a look at these tools. As I said earlier, that the class tool measures what is most important in development, and that is the quality of teacher-child interactions. These interactions and these relationships are not only critical for now, but they have the potential to influence life outcomes, as we saw in terms of the why class matters. So the two tools that we'll be taking a look at tonight are the infant class and the toddler class. So let me pause and ask, how many of you are familiar with the infant or toddler class? And how many of you are like, I don't know what this is, I ain't never see it? And feel free to respond in the chat. How many of you are familiar with these tools? I've heard about, are curious about, or how many of you have never heard anything about?
On my end, it's saying the chat is disabled.
Oh, the chat is disabled. Who can see the chat? Let me stop sharing and come out of here.
It still says disabled. Let's see.
Well, let us feel free to unmute. How many of you are familiar with the class tools, the infant or the toddler tool, infant class? How many of you have never seen it?
Never.
Never seen it, Miss Odette. That is all right, my love. That is all right. Thank you for being courageous.
I've never seen it either.
Okay, Miss Ashla, good, good. Look, we're all in the same space.
But as I
together.
read it, it's all familiar, but I've never heard it termed as infant class.
Yes, because you're living it and doing it every single day.
Right.
It's just been categorized and put all together in a nice book.
Right.
And a nice manual and a way to rate interactions. Good. Anyone else familiar with the class tools? Have seen them, never heard of them?
No, I've never seen them either.
Okay, Mr. Valentine, good. So I hope that by the time we do a brief overview of these tools that we sort of increase your interest. As we say in the country, we sort of whet your palate to learn more and to explore these tools further, which we definitely will be extending an invitation to do so by engaging with us as part of Equip's use of the class tools this year. So let's take a look at the infant class. So the infant class is for young children birth to, actually it's birth to 15 months, but actually it may be used birth through 18 months of age. So there's some overlap between the infant class and the toddler class, which I'll talk about in terms of the age range, which I'll talk more about a little later. So we know that, as we've already discussed, we know that infancy, and we saw in Ms. Lily, it's just a rapid period of great development. And that we saw in Ms. Lily that she was learning to interact with her peers, with her teachers, and with her environment in the video. We saw that Lily was comfortable in that environment, which probably indicated that she has an established relationship with her teachers, with her peers. We know that first in primary, the establishment of the relationship of the young infant is with the infant's family. But infants form these incredible relationships across a variety of different settings, such as with you. And we saw, as many of you indicated, this whole positive sense of self, this positive sense of self-perception, as well as this whole self-regulation. Lily was very content in her environment as she was practicing her crawling. So that's what the infant class sort of looks at. The infant class really looks at responsive caregiving. It looks at responsive caregiving. So it looks at it through what is known as dimensions. And we're going to take a look at one of those dimensions tonight, which is the relational climate, the quality of the relationships, the climate of the classroom environment, of the family childcare settings. So when you're thinking about this first dimension, this relational climate, you're looking at some very common practices and behaviors, Ms. Angela. That's why you say it feels so familiar, because it is familiar, because you're engaging in these practices and in these behaviors every single day, whether you know it as class behaviors or not. So the first one, Ms. Angela, is simply that. It's looking at the behaviors of the children, behaviors of the adults in the environments. So you're looking for such cues such as, are the adults and children, they use the term proximity, but we simply call it, are they close to each other, in the environment? So it's their physical closeness. It's the element of physical closeness. Are there these joint activities that are occurring between the adults and the children, as well as peers? And are the adults in this environment showing affection toward infants in a variety of different ways? Then we move on down to look at the emotional states that might be present in the family childcare home or in the classroom. We know these emotional states well. Are there evidence of laughter? They call it joy, of smiling, happiness, this overall feeling of just joy being with infants when you look through the lens of the infant class. And recognizing that our infant state of being changes very rapidly, depending on what they're trying to communicate to get their needs met. So is there respect for a variety of different infant states, meaning, am I still calm, gentle, nurturing, respectful, even when the young infant is in a very upset state, in addition to being in more calm states? And then it's going to look at my way of being in the classroom or in the family childcare home. The class calls this, it's actually called negative climate in most of the tools, but in the infant class, it's called this lack of adult negativity. So you're looking at, am I demonstrating any level of negativity toward children? Am I demonstrating any evidence of, being irritable, frustrated? And am I handling children in very rough behaviors? In the infant class, there's this emphasis on, and we do it also well every day, on, preparing young children before moving them. For example, to change their diapers. There's this space of preparation to support the young infant to understand what is occurring and what might be occurring next. So it's looking for, are there evidence of this rough teacher behaviors? And I can tell you, and Ashley and all of us can tell you who actually are certified as who use these class tools, that very rarely do we see a lot of adult negativity in our environments. Would that be correct? A correct way to phrase it, Ashley May?
Very much so. I agree completely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the class does have a way to rate the presence of adult negativity. So this relational climate, which we're going to explore further through a video, hold on to these key behaviors. You're looking for evidence of behaviors, closeness, using infant's name, demonstration of affection. You're looking for these emotional states. You're looking for smiling, laughter, happiness, this joyfulness of being with infants. You're looking for this respect for the infant state, whether the infant is calm, whether the infant is in a state of upset or frustration. And you're looking for this absence of adult negativity in the environment, in the space as well. So what might this look like in a real life classroom? Well, let's take a look at another video. This is a video from the Office of Head Start. And this video actually highlights both language and interactions. Now I'm going to encourage you to put your class lens on, and we're only looking at relational climate. So we're only looking at positive behaviors, the emotions that are present, the respect for the infant that may be demonstrated, and the lack of adult negativity. So make note of what's occurring in this environment.
There's the green. There's the green. Marson has the green. You want to give it to Miguel? You want to give it to Miguel? Huh? You want to give it to Miguel? Marson's going somewhere. He's going somewhere. He's going somewhere. Where are you going? Where are you going? There it is. There it is. Where you going? Oh, he's going to look for Megalito. That one makes noise. You can hear the sound. You can hear the sound. You hear the sound. He has a train. Megalito has a train. Yes, he has a train. Yeah, green. You want the green one? Do you want the green one? Or do you want the red one? No, neither one. Yeah. Miguelito has the rabbit. Yeah. There it is. There it is. There it is. Yes. 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 You like the train? You like the blue train? You like the blue train? Yeah, you want to hold that one? You want to hold that one? What happened to the ball? There's the ball. Mommy has the ball. Mommy let's taste the ball. What does the ball taste like? What does the ball taste like? Here, now you can put it in there. In. I can put it in. I can put it in. Yes! 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 Let's put it in this stuff. Let's put it in. What happened? There it is. It's in. It's in. It's in. It's in. Marson, the ball is in. I can take it out. Uh-oh, you see something? I can take it out. There's the ball, Marson. Ball, Marson. Ball. I can roll the ball to Marson. I can roll the ball to Marson. Can you roll it back? Huh? No, no roll back.
So let's walk through this together. So hold on, remember, under this whole category, this dimension of relational climate. So the first one is these relational behaviors. What did you see in terms of proximity, being close together? What was occurring? What was occurring?
The teachers were down on the floor with the kids.
Yes, Miss Misty, let's break this down. Let's not make it complicated. Proximities, they were down on the floor. What else did you see while they were down on that floor?
There was a lot of interaction.
There's a lot of interactions. How would you
Yes.
describe these interactions, Miss Carol?
Oh, it was exciting. The teacher was constantly talking about the colors and talking about throwing the ball and talking about who has the ball. Lots of interaction.
Lots of interaction. Remember I said that one of those key items under this category is this joint activity, doing things together. So what were they doing together?
So
Playing. Sorry, Tammy. I was just going to say they were.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
Drag on there. But I was just going to let everybody know the chat's working. And Mr. Loris said conversational and positive interaction.
Yes, yes. So how would you describe these interactions? Let's go to the emotional piece. We had this joint attention, this joint activity, that ball activity. Did you see lots of eye contact?
Yes.
Yes, lots of eye contact. That's in the relational behavior as well.
Calling the children by names.
Calling children by their names. Yes. Did you sense an element of joy?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It was clear she enjoyed being with these infants. Did you sense some enthusiasm?
Yes, I was going to say her voice. She had the right voice.
Yes, she was enthusiastic, Mr. Valentine. And was there the spirit of laughter?
It was.
There was. And Mr. Valentine, so how would you describe her voice? Was her voice
It was happy.
calm?
It was happy.
It was
happy, exciting, encouraging.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry. But it also, even though it was happy and exciting, it also made you feel safe to explore. It encouraged you to explore. It made you feel safe to go further and to explore.
Beautiful, Miss Odette. Beautiful. How did we gonna make you a certified class observer yet? So it enhanced persistence. That's how the class would phrase it. Enhanced persistence. Wow. So thinking about the last category for this item, lack of a doubt, negativity. Was there a doubt, negativity?
I didn't see any.
Was there any irritation?
No.
Any kind of verbal harshness, negative comments?
No.
So there was a lack of a doubt, negativity in this environment, but many indicators of strong relationships between the teacher and the parent and the children. Everything from being close to each other, the eye contact. the
Right.
sharing of activities, the smiling, the laughter, the overall enthusiasm, the calm voice, the gentle approach, the communication, all of it was present in this one clip. And that's what relational climate looks like on the infant class. Look, y'all are getting this class thing. So that's just one dimension. Remember, there are three other dimensions that are measured on the infant class as well. But if you continue this journey with us, we have an opportunity to explore all of these different dimensions and in full detail and what they might look like if we engage in the Class T activity. So that's just a brief introduction to the infant class. Our next tool is the toddler class. Yes, Ms. Carol, lots of positive talk and communication was evident in that video. Any questions or comments about the infant class? And that was just a brief, quick overview of the infant class. So that's what we're doing. We're just introducing these tools to you this evening and hoping to whet your palate to engage in this class activity with us and continue to use these tools as part of your daily practices. Well, Mr. Valentine, you said that these children are going to grow up. So let's take a look at the next age group. The next age group is indeed the toddler class 2. Now, this toddler class 2 has two dimensions, two broad domains. I'll talk more about that a little later. And the toddler class is for use in children 15. This is the overlap. Remember, the infant class can go up to 18 months. The toddler class starts at 15 months to 36 months. But the composition of who's enrolled in the environment is going to dictate which tool is utilized. But we will talk more about that if you were to engage in the coaching activity with us related to the tools. And we hope you all do. So let's take a look at the toddler tool. Brooke said, hit this link. These videos are played from here. I'm going to try it the next time, Brooke. So the toddler class is for children 15 to 36 months, as I stated. There are two main domains. You're looking at emotional and behavior support. I know this language may seem a little strange, a little different right now, but we have many opportunities to break this down. And then the other behavior is the support, engaged support for learning. And I'll talk more about what might be in some of that a little later. So the toddler tool also recognizes that there's this great period of development that's occurring. These young toddlers are developing this sense of independence while still need those core relationships and attachments. Language skill is increasing dramatically. By this age, our children have moved on. Many of our children have moved on from mainly their receptive language phase to their expressive language phase, and they have over 900 words or more in their vocabulary by now. And as I stated, they're exerting their independence, but yet they still need us for the security, and they're still looking for comfort from the adults in their lives. And that's what the toddler tool measures. So the toddler tool also measures positive climate, similar to the infant tool, and relational climate as well. And you're looking at negative climate is how it's phrased in the toddler class. It's the presence of a negative climate. And teacher sensitivity is the third dimension of the toddler class tool, which we would like to explore a little further. So in addition, there's regard for child perspective, behavior guidance, there's quality of feedback, how you providing feedback and encouragement to young children. That's all your facilitation of learning and development. And then the last dimension is your language modeling. But tonight we just focus on one dimension of the toddler class, and that is teacher sensitivity. So what in the world is teacher sensitivity? You got a definition on the screen, but if you had to define it, how would you define if a teacher is a sensitive teacher? And what might that look like?
Just how you make a child feel comfortable in your child care program. Knowing what their I don't even know the word for it, like their tics are, or what makes them react to certain things. Like you're sensitive to their, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Just
Miss
knowing
Angela,
their
exactly
tics,
what you
knowing
mean.
their tics, what sets them off, what makes them uncomfortable, what might start a problem. You anticipate their needs. You already know these things about them, so you're sensitive to that.
Yes, ma'am. Beautifully said. So you have this whole anticipation, this whole awareness.
Right, awareness, yeah.
Yes, Miss Angela, yes. That's the class language.
Yes.
the class calls it anticipation, awareness. I like the way you break it down. And this awareness of individual, which is exactly what.
Their individual needs. Yep.
Which is exactly what you described.
Yep.
Okay. What else might be occurring under oh, company? Who that is?
Oh my gosh, my needy German Shepherd.
What be their name?
This is Tilly. I have two, but this is Tilly.
Well, we welcome Tilly to the space. All God's children welcome.
Oh, don't tell her that, because she will come.
She's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So what might be the children? What might the children be doing under teacher sensitivity? Because this dimension is about viewing the teacher as their secure base. So what might the children be doing? What kind of behaviors might the children be demonstrating? If I'm their secure base.
Well, that would mean like the children would be very comfortable just, to come to the teacher when they need something or they have a question or, they trust her.
Yeah.
They trust her and they would come to her.
Yes, Miss Carol. Beautifully said, Miss Carol, beautifully said. And that's exactly what it is. So this dimension also looks at children's comfort level. Their comfort level to come to you when they're upset. Their comfort level to come to you when they're experiencing any kind of challenge, even if their clothes don't feel right, or something is unbuttoned, or their shoes need tying, or there's this conflict or something that might be occurring. They have this comfort level knowing that they can come to you. And not only can they come to you, that they know and trust that you are going to do everything you can to solve their challenge. That's that child comfort level. So there's this sense of reassurance and encouragement that they know that they can get from you. And so that's what teacher sensitivity feels like. That's what teacher sensitivity looks like. Let's lift another video and let's look for those elements of teacher sensitivity. Ms. Angela said awareness of what individual children need. Ms. Carol helped us define the secure base. The children come to you. Then it's you providing this sense of comfort, this reassurance. So let's see if any elements of teacher sensitivity resides in the next video clip. This is a young toddler, a very young toddler. I was surprised he was a toddler, to be honest with y'all. His name is Prophet. His name is Prophet. Okay, Brooke, so go to the PowerPoint, click on my link. Brooke said I'm not clicking on her PowerPoint, y'all, so let me go to Brooke PowerPoint. Click on her link. I'm gonna find it, Brooke. I'm gonna go down and hit this big arrow. Hit this big arrow. Can y'all hear the video?
Oh, you're going to take them. That's 2, 3, 4. Oh!
Can you hear the video?
Yeah, we can hear.
Oh, okay. Thank you, love.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we got.
Don't throw toys. You stack them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got a mirror? Where do you see it, David? Where's that, Nicholas? Nicholas. The building towers are knocking him over these glasses. Look at that glasses and glow. Now I can't get him high enough. You start having glow. Is that funny? Is that funny? Go backwards. Now look, you guys see that? Gonna do. Let's put him on top. Yay.
Where you going?
Yay.
You kind of serious? What is that? Is that Humpty Dumpty?
On the floor.
Shake it. Ha, thank you. Give me hugs. You give me hugs. You give me hugs. Thank you. Shake it, baby.
Come here. Come here. Come here, Jacob. It's okay, my love. It's okay. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going over here to Jacob.
What are you getting, Prophet?
Okay, I'm just going here to Jacob. Come here.
What are you getting?
Come here. It's okay. All right. It's okay. It's okay. You're okay. Just let you, but it's okay. There you go.
What you doing? You walking? You walking?
Yeah. Come here. Come here,
Get it, buddy.
Here, no. Be careful.
Keep that one.
What are you getting? Starfish? Fish? Are they orange and yellow? What'd you do? Make a sandwich? Huh? Did you make a sandwich? Where are you going?
Okay, let's process this together. Remember, this is under the category of teacher sensitivity. So let's start with the first category. Did you see elements of awareness?
Yes. I think the teacher was very aware and calling them by name and, you know, describing what they were doing and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So you saw, so I'm gonna beautiful this character. So you're recognizing that the class dimensions cross the different categories. So you saw these elements of relationship building still, as well as this awareness that's under teacher sensitivity. Did you? We couldn't see, but did you notice any children? Were any children upset in this video clip? Think about the background. We couldn't see it.
But they can't hear it.
I just want to be honest. I'm just confused at this point because I guess I'm looking for the supervision part of it.
Mhm.
Okay, because I saw the baby over there by himself, and Angie, you laughing at me, but I was scared. So can you unmute your mic so I can get a witness here in the
I was
Jesus?
with you.
I
That
was
is
with you.
afraid of that because I was with the baby, and then all of the books, Miss Tamara, is falling off of the shelf, and I thought he was gonna fall and slip on the book, and nobody was around him, and I heard talking in the background. Now, you know, I've never taken this class, so I came off the cuff. I don't know what I'm doing, but
Miss
I do kind of know what
that
I
is.
saw.
Oh my God, I want to respond, but I'm gonna lean in and invite one of my other equipped coordinators to respond to your point. Beautiful, beautiful observation, Ms. Odette. So how might that be handled under this category of awareness? And I'm gonna be quiet and get a drink. Equipped staff, how would that be? How might that be handled?
Well, I will add something for consideration because I don't ever want to say this is what it is and this is not what it is. There's what's happening visually, and then there's what's happening, I guess, auditory.
We'll take that at 7:30 something, 7:34 tonight.
I know,
Sounds
right?
good to me.
But there's what I can see and there's what I can hear. If I had no sound, I might make a different thought. I might have a different thought process than having sound, because I'm with you, Miss Odette. I'm looking and I'm seeing it's fine. He's exploring. He's being given that freedom to explore. But then the books come down and there's this piece of slipping because there's all these books that are like with each other. And I am personally unsure of what that teacher is saying and who the teacher is talking to. So for me, I would want some more information. But I think you've brought up a great point, because some of this does come down to our values, and risky play is part of conversation too. But at this age group, I do personally, to see, this is my value coming in again, would think about the whole slip factor. Because once they came off the shelf and they're on top of each other and he's stretching and sliding, there's that piece though, just like you said, I'm not sure if the teacher was acknowledging the child, what was going on there. So there's a lot of assumptions that I would be making because I'm not exactly sure what was going on. Is that fair to add?
That is fair to add. Ms. Tammy, thank you,
Yeah.
Ashley May.
Yeah, so yeah, I was a bit concerned, the same concern, Miss Odette. So I get that. I felt like I wasn't sure either, actually, but I thought the teacher was probably talking to him because she was talking about books, including don't throw the books. I heard that in there. So, but then I did feel like, well, the teacher sensitivity would also include that physical response and being close by, because had he slipped, if the rocking chair hadn't been there, I think I would have felt differently. But the rocking chair could have been a head injury waiting to happen. So I was holding my breath.
Yes, beautiful, Tammy May. So, Ms. Odette, when you get your book, if you join us in this activity, you see that the first line of the teacher sensitivity and the awareness is, it's attentive to children throughout the classroom. So that's where you would begin to make your notes about that indicator and the evidence that you saw. It's attentive to children throughout the classroom. Even noticing difficulties are children who are upset. Little man might have been experiencing difficulty. So noticing difficulties. So that's where you would pick that up under the class lens, under awareness. So there was some evidence of some children upset. We didn't know what was happening in the background. But I would, if I were in that environment, if I were observing in that environment, as Ashley stated, I would have been able to collect additional data and our evidence, our behaviors. I would have had a fuller view, a fuller story of what was occurring in the space, But there were elements of teacher sensitivity. There were behaviors that could have influenced teacher sensitivity in that environment as well. Did you see any children initiating contact, or they call it bids for attention? Did you see, let's go to the positive. Did you see any children making bids for attention? Is how the class phrases it.
He was trying to hug his teacher.
Yes. And what was the teacher's response?
Oh, you want a hug? And she hugged him.
Now, if the teacher would have done opposite, Miss Misty, that also would have been picked up under teacher sensitivity. Y'all are class observers and certified observers. I'm gonna give y'all a certificate. Please put together a few resources that we invite you to continue exploring. These resources will be part of your PowerPoint presentation that we would definitely share with you as follow-up. There's going to be a research summary of the benefits of the class that I highlighted. There's going to be some real-world examples on what teacher sensitivity might actually look like in the real world. And if you were to click on the Teachstone class resource link, there's a plethora of videos and webinars and print resources related to the class tools. And the first video of Lily really highlighted this incredible parallel talk that was occurring. So there's another link to explore further the use of self and parallel talk to enhance young children, to enhance communication skills with young children. So these are just a few of the resources that we pulled from the class website that we definitely encourage you to explore further.
Thank you for viewing this content. You can now press the blue arrow, which allows you to complete a few more questions for the evaluation part of this session. Once you are finished with those questions and press the final blue arrow, your DCD-EE training certificate should appear. At that point, we encourage you to right-click and save the certificate if you're using a PC or laptop, or you can also screenshot it if you're using a tablet or phone. Once you have submitted the evaluation, you will receive a confirmation email from us, and your certificate will also be in that email. Of course, if there are any challenges along the way with technology, do not hesitate to reach out to us at equipped@uncg.edu. You can email us and we will respond back and give you the certificate if needed. Thank you again. Thank you for viewing this recorded content from Equipped. We encourage you to visit our website at equipped.info to learn more about how Equipped supports and encourages early childhood professionals in Guilford County. Thank you.